Adulting at its finest.
Totally. There it is.
All right,
There
there we
it
go.
is.
Now you should probably hear everything.
Yeah.
And everyone, welcome to the Part-Time Gamers, the gaming podcast for people with full-time lives. I'm your host, Cyrenex, and I'm joined by my good friends Gristle and 9 of 12. How you doing, guys?
Word.
Groot.
No, I am Groot.
No, we are Groot.
No, Groot.
So, yeah. We are back again, and like I mentioned last week, just giving everyone the forewarning right off the top of the show, this is going to be a spoiler episode. We are going to be spoiling not only the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale series Episode 1, we are also probably going to be spoiling the movie as well, because all three of us have actually gotten a chance to see it.
Oh yeah,
And it was awesome.
it was
So-
spectacular.
Yeah. So everyone, if you are not a fan of spoilers, we will check back with you probably sometime next week with Part-Time Gaming. And thanks for joining us. If you'd like to support the show, you can at patreon.com/parttimegamers and all that other jazz. If you are not,
Okay, love you. Bye bye.
yeah. If you are not adverse to spoilers, or if you have already seen the movies and or played the game, we're going to keep on spoiling the crap out of both. Yeah. So, I don't even know how to start now.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Start with that.
Yeah. So, also, this episode of our podcast is probably going to have the longest title it's going to be Part-Time Gamers, episode 40, Guardians of the Galaxy, A Telltale Series, episode 1. I think that's going to be the longest title for one of our
Really?
episodes so far.
Okay.
It's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's good.
I like being complete with my titles. But
You think?
yeah.
But succinct has its appeal.
I know yeah. Anyway. So what have you guys been doing the last couple of weeks?
Farting around.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've already mentioned that all three of us got a chance to actually see the movie, Guardians of the
Yeah,
Galaxy.
man.
So,
That
what'd you guys think of it?
I am still having trouble deciding if I like it better than the first, or the first better. I can't decide.
Yeah,
I can't make that kind of weight, like just on a scale between the two.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to not be disappointed. I went in with low
yeah.
expectations because, sequel, and I was
Yeah.
really scared they were going to just like exploit,
Screw it up.
overuse Baby Groot or
Yeah.
something and
That was my
cheese
biggest
things.
worry.
Right, but it already has like cheese being part of the appeal, and
yeah,
but man, great time laughing.
yeah.
I went in with high expectations and was not disappointed, which is why I came out being like, oh my god, I can't. I don't know if it's better than the first or not, because all the reviews I read, people were saying that the first was slightly better, and I don't know if I agree with that.
I think that's understandable as the impact of like how surprising it was the first time, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But is it more surprising that it was the first one was the way it was, or that this one, they managed to keep it going somehow, and it didn't disappoint, and it wasn't a letdown, and they didn't overuse anything really. It was just like, blam, there you go.
Yeah.
Also, the soundtrack was spectacular.
Yeah, the soundtrack was awesome.
Again.
Oh yeah, actually I'm super excited. I don't know if you guys are, but I am a patron of Coverville.
Yep.
And yeah, and as a little benefit, Brian Ibbett, I got an email and he made a like little bonus Coverville episode that covers like his own Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in any ones he could manage. I mean, things like the brand new Hasselhoff tomb or whatever he couldn't find covers of, but like
Yeah.
he's got his play-by-play Coverville episode of that, and I am so psyched to listen to that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my goodness, Hasselhoff.
Oh yeah.
What a great bit, right?
That was
So good.
weird, but okay.
It was so good.
I'm of an age that I totally get that. Like,
yeah.
Sure.
That would have been a cool dad.
So overall, I think I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I don't know, like, of the two, I don't know which one I think I like better, but with almost every Marvel movie, they're all just different, varying levels of great.
Sure.
And
yeah,
especially most of them are pretty good, and some of them are just a little less good than others, but all of them are like a certain level of good in my eyes.
None of them are like complete crap movies.
Yeah.
Captain America one might have been pushing it a little bit, but it wasn't crap. It was still a decent movie.
See, I actually really like that one. But
well, it had Hugo Weaving in it, so that was awesome.
No, true. I think for me the low end would probably be Iron Man 3.
Oh yeah.
That was
I
probably
forgot about that one.
Oh
yeah.
Are we
Age of
all
Ultron was
Spider-Man now, because that's a whole episode.
What's
Spider-Man
that?
doesn't even have a movie yet.
No,
see?
Yeah, we're just talking about the cinematic universe.
Yeah, we're not talking about the old Spider-Man movies, which I'm not gonna even go into how I'm ticked off about the whole. Like, that's enough Spider-Man movies, for God's sakes. But
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, but the one part that I probably shouldn't have laughed so much about, but did anyway, was right at like the very end when the one Ravager guy gives Peter Quill the Zune.
Oh yeah.
Is like, yeah, this is what all the people on Earth
funny.
are listening to, and I just wanted to like say in the theaters, like, yeah, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But that was another, I thought, intentionally great bit, right?
Yeah.
Just to because it's a hokey, it at least got that place in history.
Yeah.
And I got a little story there. I ended up texting my son, going, "Damn it, now I'm mad at you again," because I had a Zune. I didn't buy a Zune. What happened was I was a delegate to the Democratic National Convention in 2008, and there was like this Green Earth like event that I got invited to, sponsored by Al Gore, and I was given a Zune, and it was like green, and it had the DNCC logo on it, and I gave it to my then teenage son, and he eventually lost it. And this like that bit in Guardians, I was like all over again mad, because not only is that like such a great that little piece of history, I had like a freaking awesome iconic little that Zune, man.
Yeah. But yeah, overall the movie was fantastic. It was that's one thing that seems to be a core one thing that seems a core element of like Guardians of the Galaxy in general, not just the movie but the game as well, is just comedy to a degree.
Yes.
It has its serious dramatic points, but a lot of times it's just off the wall comedy, and that's
they know when to employ it too. It's not just like overdone, where they're just forcing it all the time, or it's not so few that there's like it's too serious. That they really have a good grasp on when to use.
Yeah, they manage the character development, snuck in there in a really good balance. Like that's an art.
Yes.
I just remembered something, though. They missed a huge comedic opportunity when Yondu and Rocket Raccoon were like decimating everyone in the Ravager ship.
Yeah.
There's one scene where they very clearly could have played It's Raining Men, and they did not.
Oh, yeah.
I know this exact scene, and my reaction...
Yep.
was I leaned over to my husband, and if you're an MST3K fan, you'll get it. And I was like,
Yes.
wow, that's a lot of railing text.
Railing
Yes.
too.
Oh, that's a good one too.
The low point for me, the only criticism, and I guess it's not very big, and maybe it's just because I recently watched that thing about the Marvel Universe music that Russell Brower had recommended, that during the big climactic fight between Quill and his dad, that they cut away from even keeping that song in the background thematic of the music of that. They switched over to a very generic battle music, and the music, that retro music being so iconic to the story and the feel of it, like that pulled me out a second. Like I noticed it. My husband didn't even notice it, but I noticed it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I know what you're talking about, but I'd have to rewatch it to really like pick that out. I just like when Yondu was Mary Poppins. That was
right.
So funny. He goes, "Is that good?"
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Is that cool? Is that better?
Yeah. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. Floating down.
It's like, what did he call Rocket Raccoon? Like a trash badger or something?
Panda.
Trash Panda.
That was the next thing
it's
I was gonna tell you guys.
Oh,
have either of you seen the Guardians of the Galaxy 2, like the mixtape quiz on Facebook?
I have not.
So it's one of those Facebook quizzes, and like you go through and you pick the songs you would choose to put on your mixtape.
Yeah.
And it tells you which character you would be. And my husband and I had both taken it separately, and we both got Rocket.
Really?
And when he got Rocket, I was like, and he said, "Oh, I was trying to get Taserface." So you were trying to be the biggest jerk ever? What in the world? And then I took it, and I got Rocket, and I'm like, well, now I'm all like, I'm apparently just actually a jerk. And he's like, but we're both trash pandas.
Oh man, it's like, just all in all, everyone, go see this movie if you haven't already. It is just funny and still good. Has some really good action. But another thing that was really cool about it is it does still have a moral to it, and that also ties into the game as well. Is this really exploring the idea of family and what really is family? Is it blood, or is it the people closest to you? So I think that was really cool. That really explored that element of psychology and stuff like that, as well as having lots of really funny and dramatic moments in it as well. It's just a very, very well done movie.
Oh yeah.
We are great.
Yeah.
And also something that's kind of fun is the fact that the events in this movie directly affect Earth as well. So now we're starting to get more connection between the events of Guardians of the Galaxy and Earth. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Did you watch all the after? I assume you watched all the after credit stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teenage.
Every bit, and along with the 5 stingers.
Yeah.
Like the little just bits, the little changing letters and stuff.
That was cool.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
So fun.
I thought that was really cool during the credits, where it's like they have certain names and stuff and positions that start off as "I am Groot," and then changes to what it actually is. So it's like you have to watch the credits and just like try to pick it out of them. It's
and the one that changes specifically to the disclaimer about no raccoons being harmed and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's like no raccoons or living trees were insured in the making of this film. Anyway, yeah, it's a great movie, and we'll probably end up slipping a little bit more into it as we talk about the game.
I'm sure.
But yeah, let's go real quick through our water cooler talk, get some more game-related stuff, and then get right into the Telltale series game. So go ahead and Zach, start off with yours.
So what I'm bringing to the table is an article from IGN, which came out yesterday about Mass Effect and how the series is going to be on hold, apparently, which is not, I guess it's not entirely surprising because Andromeda was really not a big hit. But it's kind of sad. Just I mean, at least it's kind of sad for me, I suppose, and I suppose Sean, you're probably a
Yeah.
little sad about it, even though you haven't played it. I'm sure you haven't played Andromeda yet.
No.
But you know, being fans of the original series and everything, it kind of sucks to see that world kind of just, you know, I don't want to say it's gonna die off, but I think it would take a lot for them to revisit it at this point. So I have a feeling that they're gonna kind of let it go by the wayside.
Well, it had a lot of high expectations because of the success of the original Mass Effect series.
Yeah,
And they it just didn't deliver.
and you know, not to mention, and you know, I'm not going to get into the whole controversy over the third game, you know, because that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But you know, and enough people didn't like it and were not pleased with it, so Andromeda was kind of supposed to be like this step back and a breath of fresh air for the series, and it just was plagued with all of those animation problems and the models, and you know, there just wasn't enough patching to save it. It was too little too late. So
Yeah.
at least that's what I've read and that's what I've seen, because again, I haven't played it mostly because of what I've seen. But
I haven't played it because I don't have a system that can play it.
well, yeah,
That
I
too.
mean, that's a good limiter as well, I suppose. But yeah, it's just it's too bad. The whole team, the article says that the team is kind of working on something else, and BioWare's got some new IP that they're working on that they're going to be pushing pretty soon. They're not really saying what it is yet, but I think that's kind of what they're all pushing towards at this point.
Yeah.
Which is you know, it's sad, but whatever.
Yeah.
I like Mass Effect. I like that universe.
Yeah. No, I think if they like remade, I think we might have said this, it might have been off the air, but if they remade like the original Mass Effect story with like the combat and stuff of Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, it's the problem is I feel like it's too soon for a remaster.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
But I wouldn't put
just
it past them. I mean, they do stuff like that all the time now, I
Yeah.
guess. So yeah, that would be cool. Or I mean, even if, and this is crazy, give it to Telltale and let them at least let them tell a story in the Mass Effect universe. That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Heck, give Telltale all the IPs. The stories in every universe at this point.
Yeah. So how about you, September? What'd you bring to the table today?
Nothing. She probably muted her mic. You know?
September.
No, sorry, I
There we
hit
go.
the wrong button. I just had Mr. Blue Sky in my head, so I'm kind of dang it. Love that song. So rumors are flying fast and hard all of a sudden about Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the next Lara Croft. It's not going to be at E3, but it's supposed to be maybe out in early 2018. And like there's the last two kind of left PlayStation in the dust and came out way later for it. And nobody's being really forthcoming about, you know, whether or not that's going to happen again. But it looks like probably, yeah. But it looks like it might be really different, darker. I think that's really interesting.
I've played them. I played the previous titles on the PC, but I never beat them. I was just not super impressed with the first one, and to be honest with you, the second one I just haven't had time. But I was impressed with it a lot more. I thought, I mean, they were pretty dark as it went.
Well, I guess it's all relative.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it seems like you're looking at that game and it's like, can we? I'd be more interested in focusing on the content in that world than making sure she looks perfectly pretty in every little outtake, or you know.
Yeah.
Sure. My and we'll see. I guess time will tell. My big complaint about the first game was that there wasn't really enough tomb raiding. It was called,
Yeah.
Rise of the Tomb Raider, but like the tombs in it were kind of lame and they were really short little bits, and it was just really to tie together like the big action parts of the game, and that really ticked me off, because I guess the thing that I took from the original Tomb Raider was the tomb exploring and the traps and all that fun stuff that you had to dodge kind of made you feel like Indiana Jones and less of like James Bond. But
Exactly.
the new ones you really kind of feel more like an action hero. So I don't know.
But with so much flying around and the stuff that's been leaked, I have some hope that maybe they're going to get back to it being a really good game instead of milking it.
That would be cool.
Kind of like the movies, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm reading your article now, and there, there's that new movie coming out too.
Yeah.
In 2018. But who
Let's
knows?
hope they don't screw up this opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of reminds me. There's so many IPs that, when done well, are just profound in some way.
Sure.
And they're just like, but most of the time they're just not done well. Like, the Lara Croft movies up until this point, just have not. They've been just mindless action movies, pretty much. So
I mean,
like,
I'm not gonna completely rag on the first one. I thought the first one was okay, but it didn't really remind me of Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made money for the studios. Let's just put it that way.
Like that was fun. Kinda meh.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like the rest of the IP did.
No.
Like already knowing what it was. Probably better if you never knew what it was.
Yeah, that's one of those cases of it's just better to go in blind.
Yeah. All right, and the article I brought is, big surprise, Blizzard related.
No.
This week in our Blizzard Entertainment update, there's been a new public test run patch for Heroes of the Storm that includes Diva, includes some pretty big changes for Tyrande and Alarak, and gotten a chance to play a little bit of it. And Diva feels really interesting because most of the Overwatch characters that they've brought to Heroes of the Storm stay pretty faithful to how they are in Overwatch. Diva is a little bit of a departure to a degree, especially with her ultimate in Overwatch being self-destruct. That's actually one of her basic abilities in Overwatch, or in Heroes of the Storm. You still have to gather up charge to use it and stuff like that, but it's just a basic ability. It's not her ultimate. It's like her two ultimates in Heroes of the Storm are completely new constructs that are not in Overwatch.
Okay, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Isn't self-destruct is like the oh crap button. I mean, where do you go from there?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you still need to charge it up, and but it does a crap ton of damage if you're stuck in the middle of it. But she's also unique because but something that is very faithful to Overwatch is she's like a two-stage hero. She starts off in her mech. If you destroy the mech, you only get half the experience of a kill. She comes out of the mech and can continue on in pilot mode. She doesn't have a lot of health and doesn't have access to her abilities and stuff like that, other than calling down another mech, but she can continue on. And if she dies in pilot mode, you only get, again, half of the kill. So you have to kill both her mech and her to get a full kill from her. So it's kind of interesting, that mechanic. It's the first time they've really done something like that. But yeah, she plays very interestingly. At first, I thought her defense matrix ability, the way they made it in Heroes of the Storm, I thought it was going to be almost useless, because when you activate it, you can't turn. You're locked in the angle that you were facing when you activate it. But you can still move. So you can actually still move around, kind of keep the enemies in that area that's in the defense matrix field and everything. And so she plays very interestingly. I don't know what to make of her, because she is a tank without a CC, which is not usually most good, like, solo. She's not going to be able to be a solo tank, but she might be able to be a bruiser.
Right.
But So she's in there. She's in the public test realm. She should be there until, I believe, the 15th, I think, is when they'll probably go live with this patch. Played a little bit of Tyrande. Really like her new new talents and everything. So, but yeah, that's what I got. Big surprise. Anyway, time for us to get back to work. And as we've already announced, we are talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series, Episode 1. It was developed and published by, big surprise, Telltale Games. Right now, you can find it on Steam for Windows and Mac. You can find it on PS4 and Xbox One, all for $24.99. So it's $24.99 for all of those platforms. So for the uninitiated, Telltale Games in general, they'll take an IP like they've done Batman, they've done Tales from the Borderlands, stuff like that. They take it and they basically, you're almost playing a choose your own adventure type story to a degree. So your choices actually make a difference in the game, where like which characters are your friends and your relationships with their characters and all that jazz. And there are certain big choices that much more drastically shape how your game changes compared to other people, how their changes are. And one thing that I think is actually really cool is at the end of the game, it actually shows you like what percentage did the same choice as you, or one that was different. Does it give you like, okay, were you in the majority or the minority for this choice? Right. I think that's really cool. It does that and does it for all of them.
Yeah, Tales from the Borderlands does that too.
Yeah, and that's another one I want to actually play through. I still have it from like 2 or 3 months ago, and I still have not played it.
It's fun,
but I don't want to completely overload the podcast and the part-time gaming with Telltale Games.
Sure.
But yeah, I might want to do that at some point. But as a brief outline of the actual story of the game. First, you start off. You're getting called by Nova Corps. They've followed Thanos to this Kree planet, and are now getting decimated out in orbit. So they call you to try to get some help. You join the fight. You end up getting shot out of the sky, crash land on the planet. Once you're there, you actually follow Thanos' ship to this specific Kree ruin. You're able to eventually get everyone inside and everything, and you go down to this chamber underneath the ruin where you actually find Thanos. At that point he's grabbing this Kree artifact. It kind of looks like a square hourglass made out of computer motherboards.
Good description.
Do you think? Yeah. But he says during his typical villain monologue that it is the Eternity Forge. So we got the name for this, whatever it is, and after that you actually fight Thanos. And
Great, doesn't that seem super early?
Yeah, that was one thing that really
we're starting with Thanos, okay?
Yeah, that was one thing that really got my attention about the game. In the first third of the game, you kill Thanos. During this fight, you actually successfully kill Thanos. And it's like, what the crap? This is the big bad of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. And you kill him in the first third of the game. So, now granted, there's one piece of information that implies that this is not going to be the last you see of Thanos, and that's the fact that when you respond to his monologue, it says Thanos will remember this.
Like it does for those people who haven't played Telltale games. It does say that, like, at key choices and stuff, when what you choose may affect how somebody else feels or thinks about you.
It's like the rep building part of the game.
So like the different dialogue options and choices you make will affect your relationships with other people in that game. And
I would argue that there's another kind of giveaway if you know the universe at all. I mean, Thanos is not wielding the Infinity Gauntlet when you fight him.
That is true too. Yeah. But still, you freaking kill Thanos in the first third of the game. So that's a little bit ridiculous. But anyways, after you kill Thanos, you gather up his body, you gather up the Eternity Forge, and the next scene, Peter is holding the Eternity Forge. It cuts to the next scene. He plops it down on a bar, and the bartender fills it with some sort of alcohol, and he drinks from it during their celebration at the bar. Like we were mentioning with the movie, a lot of the humor ties into the game too, which
Classic.
is hilarious. So
I enjoyed that so much. There was
Yeah.
like this, like, wow, that's probably really stupid, and wow, that's probably exactly what I would do.
Yeah, that's the thing is the whole time, like as soon as he reaches for it, the way they do the camera and everything as he's reaching for the Eternity Forge, you think something really, really bad is going to happen. And he's just like, nope, he just picks it up. Nothing happens.
Oh yeah, that's like this huge dramatic pause, right?
Yeah. You're just thinking just like, oh crap, is this thing gonna like revive Thanos? Like, no, he just picks it up. And then you're thinking just like, oh crap, he's pouring alcohol into this. How is that going to affect it? It's like, doesn't do anything.
Just drinks out of it.
Yeah, he just literally is drinking out of it the whole night. It's just like theoretically, like potentially ridiculously powerful artifact. He's just drinking out of it. It's hilarious. But
oh my gosh, sorry, I just had this great image of Indiana Jones running in like, that belongs in a museum. Oh no!
Are you dying?
I hear it, Sean.
Oh, what's happening?
I'm dying slowly.
All right. As are we all.
I think I might still have a slight cough from my cold, and I also spilled some coffee on my pants, but
these are all
that's
good
hilarious.
Things. Well done.
That was probably the most appropriate reaction to that whole situation. Coffee. Well, I'm not choking.
Painful for you, honey.
Yeah, another reason why we need to do video. But
that would be embarrassing.
That'd be hilarious. But okay, so yeah, they got Thanos' body, they got the artifact, they're back at the bar, drinking up a storm, and it's at this point where we get a couple of our first major choices. One comes in the fact that Drax is drinking and celebrating that he's finally got his revenge. He's finally avenged his wife and daughter. He's saying just that. I finally avenged my wife and daughter. And, I killed Thanos and everything. And then Rocket Raccoon, being the eternal asshole that he is, comes in and says, "Well, actually, it was Peter that pulled the trigger, and it was me that made the gun. So really, you didn't get your revenge." So at that point,
okay,
Peter...
well, those were choices that you got to choose what you said.
Yeah.
Like,
so
these were things I was watching you do and going, I'd be a snarkier Quill than you.
That's another thing is whenever there's any sort of like moral compass in a game, I'll almost always go Paragon. Like, even in games that don't have paladins, I'm almost always a paladin. So,
yeah, and I probably would have broke the team, right? So,
yeah, but
it would have been so funny, like taking Rocket down a peg in that situation where he's bragging about the gun, and like you had the choice, and you could have said, "Yeah, it's a good thing I have good aim."
Yeah,
that I couldn't resist that choice. I couldn't. I couldn't have just given it to him the way you did.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's another thing that's really nice about this is the fact that you can kind of define how you want to portray Peter Quill. So I was portraying a more of a hero type character. He's looking out for his family. He's trying to more or less do the right thing while still getting paid for it, mind you, but stuff like that. So Yeah, the choices that you have for that situation are you can either side with Drax and agree that he avenged his wife and daughter, or you can side with Rocket and say that he didn't. And
Right.
I chose to side with Drax.
Of course he did.
Yeah, that he successfully avenged his wife and daughter.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
After
wonder
that,
how that would have gone the other way, though, because
yeah,
Drax's point of view, and he was talking about, well, now that I am avenged, I can go join them in heaven.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah,
Kind of scary.
that's something that once we get a couple more playthroughs in, it'll be nice to see how, because there wasn't really a whole lot of. That was one thing about this episode in particular, is since it's the first episode of the series, you don't really see how these choices really change the story.
It's too early.
Yeah, so probably once you get into like second, third episode and all that jazz, you'll start seeing how these early choices kind of shape it. So right now you don't really see what's happening, but it's be really interesting to see how that choice in particular starts to affect things. Like it will probably start dividing your relationship with Drax and all that jazz. But so after the choice with Drax, you talk to Gamora, who is having this mental debate or whatnot with whether or not to communicate with Nebula, because now Thanos is dead. She's thinking about trying to reach out to Nebula because she still considers Nebula her sister. So you get the choice of either pushing her to go ahead and contact Nebula, try to mend fences or whatnot, and try to get that relationship back in order or whatnot now that Thanos is dead, or you can tell her to just stay away, that it's not going to be healthy for her to try to reach out to Nebula. So I decided to tell her to go ahead and contact Nebula, try to get the family back together and such.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. Like I was saying, that family is a big core element of their Guardians of the Galaxy universe in general.
Sure.
So you have that choice, and then after that, you continue on with the celebration. Eventually, Peter passes out and is woken up sometime later to Gamora, like basically shaking him awake. It's like, okay, we have a huge problem right now. And you find out that huge problem is the fact that they racked up such a huge bar tab that they have no way of paying it right now. So they have to try to figure out a way to get enough units to pay for their bar tab, and also, for all the other repairs and all the stuff that they've done for, killing Thanos. And Rocket actually comes up with a really good idea for once, which is sell Thanos' body. So the last choice of this part of the game is you have to decide, who do you sell the body to? And Rocket wants you to sell the body to the Collector, because you will get a huge sum of money from him. Or you can go with Gamora and give the body to the Nova Corps, who have a standing bounty on his head. So me, once again being the paladin that I am, decided to go with the Space Cops and, hand him over to the Nova Corps, because also I think that might be a little bit better odds of him not coming back so soon. Because the Collector's kind of shady. And by I mean he's pitch black.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So
he's
legendarily shady.
Yes.
Yeah. And I imagine if you give it to the Collector, he'd probably try to find some way of bringing him back to life, like almost immediately. But so I opted to go with giving the body to the Nova Corps. So in between when you actually call the Nova Corps and when they actually arrive, Quill is in his he's trying to kind of sweeten the deal a little bit, especially with Rocket, and offer the artifact to the Nova Corps as well to try to get some more money off of that. And he goes back into his room, grabs the Eternity Forge, and it activates to some degree, and he's all of a sudden in this flashback. He goes back to when he was a kid, and he's in the car with his mom after he'd gotten in a fight at school. And, they're going off somewhere and they're having this conversation between him and his mom. And then they get to that spot, they're on top of the car and talking about all this stuff, and his mom tries to get him to promise not to solve problems with his words rather than his fists. And this is another one of the choices. And also, this is actually the one choice that I voted, or that I did in the minority. The overwhelming majority of people agreed to the promise to their mom, to the Quill's mom, that they would stop fighting, that they would, try to solve problems with their words. I actually voted against the promise,
which is unlike you.
Yeah. Well, the reason that I voted against the promise is because I realized that there are situations in the world where you have to fight. So,
Sure.
And there are situations where words are not going to do anything, especially when you have to, kill Thanos. So,
Right.
But I thought that one was
'Cause,
interesting.
I think I would have sold to the collector, but I think I would have agreed with the mom.
Yeah. So, and that was another thing, like at the end when I got to all the choices and the percentages and everything and all that jazz, most of them were the closest to being a split choice was, I think, with Gamora and Nebula, and that was still like 60-40. I think it was like 65-35 or something even. And that was the closest one. All of the rest of them were like 70% or higher in one side.
Pretty strongly slanted to one side. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, this one was the only one that I was in the minority. Which I thought was kind of interesting. All the rest of them, were in the majority. So you have this flashback, and it's so vivid to him. He thinks that he was basically teleported back in time to witness that conversation, and then after the promise with his mom and everything, I think she mentioned something like trying to find her again or something. I don't remember off the top of my head. And then you're back in the ship. Gamora is like shaking you, getting you out of this trance, and you apparently have been in this trance for like hours, and it felt like a couple minutes to you. And the Nova Corps are getting ready for the body exchange and everything. So you get Thanos' body out there, and this was one part that I was probably the most tense about, because you give them the body for Thanos, they start scanning it to confirm its identity, and I'm just going, oh crap, that's not Thanos, it's a double. Yeah. Oh crap, this is not going to end well. And it's like they get done with the scan, it's like, okay, it's him. What?
I saw you get really tense at the beginning. I was watching you play, and there was right at the beginning when you were like going into the destroyed place, and that the rocks were shifting.
Yeah.
And you got that like scared look like you do in a horror game, like you were waiting for the jump scare. You got all like
yeah.
I was like, wow, he's already jumpy.
I get into these games.
He's infamously good at jump scares. He loves them.
And I feel great about like if we're in a game and I'm getting to know this paladin idea you have better, I feel good to know that you got some Leroy in there.
Oh, but yeah, that moment when they were scanning Thanos' body is like, that was really tense for me, because I was thinking exactly that. It's like, it's not him, and then I'm going to get in trouble with the Nova Corps because I think I'm like trying to swindle money out of them, and like the real Thanos is still out there. It's like, nope, it's him. Mm-hmm. I was really surprised by that, actually.
Were you disappointed?
Not necessarily disappointed, just kind of surprised.
Do you think it changes based on like if you make the other choice? Do you think maybe they scan it and they're like, whoa, that's not him?
I don't know. honestly. I don't think
That's-
so, because
wonder.
that would be a pretty big
I
shift for the first
I feel like
episode. But
yeah, and I feel like the choices that you make up to that point really shouldn't affect that, but I don't know.
yeah, I
mean,
don't
why
think.
else
Like a
would
prime opportunity for another big fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's not really any choices that would directly affect that in
Right.
particular.
Right. That's what I'm
so
saying.
yeah.
I wonder if like it wouldn't really make sense for them to do it, but I wonder if they did bury something in there. Or do you think
Yeah.
it was just like for comedy?
I think it was to make people like me sweat.
Like strictly,
So-
yeah, to elicit that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're
But,
kind of famous for that stuff.
Yeah. Well, so after you give the body to the Nova Corps, like while you're still in the hangar, the Milano and the Nova Corps there are attacked by these Kree soldiers, and they are demanding, this one in particular, who you find out is named Hala the Accuser, is demanding the Eternity Forge from you. And after a short fight, she ends up getting a hold of it. Her and her Kree homies head back to the ship. Oh, yes, I said homies on the air. Get used to it.
We're with you.
Yeah, so Peter and one other person need to head up to Hala's ship in order to get the artifact back, because Peter is now attached to this. The fact that he's seen his mother his mother is somehow connected to this artifact now, and so he needs it back because of that. And so this is one of the last choices of the game. Actually, it is the last big choice of the game.
Yeah.
You have the option of either taking Gamora with you for a more stealth approach, or taking Drax with you for a more just straightforward hack and slash approach for attacking this ship. And once again, I chose in the majority for this one, which was Gamora.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's something that will affect the relationship between those characters, like which
Definitely.
choice you made here. But yeah, you attack the ship, you go in all stealthy, you eventually make it to the bridge, and you face Hala directly, and you find out her plan. She's trying to use the Eternity Forge to basically rebuild the Kree Empire. Like at this point in this story, pretty much Thanos has wiped out all of the Kree. So yeah, she's trying to get the Eternity Forge in order to rebuild the Kree Empire, and it trying to extrapolate what that possibly could mean for the Eternity Forge. It's a forge, it's meant to build something, but she was alluding that it requires other people's lives in order to recreate life and everything. So it kind of feels like she's going to basically go on a mass murdering spree in order to collect enough life force or whatever in this Eternity Forge to basically recreate the Kree Empire.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this, what is going on. But during this whole fight, she ends up basically impaling Peter, who is still alive for a little bit anyways. They end up getting sucked out into space with the Eternity Forge, and are able to get picked up by the rest of the crew. And while Peter is basically dying on the floor from this wound, he gets another one of these flashbacks to when his mother died, actually just after her funeral ceremony. And in this one, unlike the movie, it's at this point that Yondu makes contact with Peter, and then takes Peter up into space and everything. And after that, Peter comes into the church as an adult, and approaches the coffin. Actually starts like someone's like punching the inside of the coffin, and he goes over to approaches it to open it up, and his mother appears behind him and consoles him and all this jazz, and tells him again to try to find her. And then he wakes up the Eternity Forge is hovering over him and actually heals his chest. So he's back to full health, grabs the Eternity Forge and goes, "Oh, shh." And that's where the first story ends. Or no, it goes, "Holy shh." And that cuts it off right there.
It cuts.
But
Classic Guardians.
yeah. So that's pretty much the gist of the story. And those 5 major choices. Oh, again, since this is the first episode, you're not really going to see the impact of those choices yet. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I made pretty much all of the good guy choices, but that could end up being more complications in the future episodes. Maybe having a more forceful hand would make things easier. I don't know.
Right.
The only way to know is once we get all the rest of the episodes and figuring out all that jazz.
Have they given us any inkling as to how many episodes they're going to make?
I believe.
For the series?
Actually, if you look in the achievements, I believe there's going to be 5 episodes because
Okay.
they have
That
achievements.
makes sense.
What's that?
I was going to say that makes sense
Yeah,
because
Yeah,
I think didn't they do 5 for Tales of the Borderlands?
I think
Or is that
so.
less?
I think
it's
think
5.
almost all of the Telltale series games are like
Yeah.
5 episodes.
Yeah.
I like that there were 2 choices like in the intro that they kind of built that in.
Yeah.
Like before it even gave the game title, you remember? Like right at the beginning, it was still really kind of just the intro, but you had 2 choices, and one did give you a that the space police were going to remember.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's like right off the bat, you're able to pretty much kind of define what kind of Peter Quill you want. Because
It's kind of like this. Is the game started yet?
Yeah.
I think, and I'm making choices, and
yeah.
and then
And I
here
actually,
you are in Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah, I actually missed one of the QuickTime events at the beginning. Like trying to catch the screwdriver. I actually messed that one up, but
really?
thankfully it was not a fatal one. But
My kids were laughing
Yeah.
at the animation with Rocket working on the giant gun.
yeah, because the gun is literally bigger than he is.
He's just stabbing it with the screwdriver. Like,
And he just
doesn't
lays
look
it down,
very
just
deft.
That's how you
Just like-
engineer things.
yes. I mean, if any video game, like, how do you fix things in Overwatch? You hit it with a hammer.
Yeah, that's how it works.
It's like apparently in Guardians of the Galaxy, you fix things by stabbing it with a screwdriver and then kicking it.
Lots of kicking.
Yeah, lots of kicking. But yeah, it's again along the lines of all the Telltale series. It has those big choices. Like I was saying, you can't in this episode you're not going to see the ramifications of those choices. It's going to be more prevalent in episode 2 and 3 and such. But I do again really like the fact that it does convey that element of family. As like that, the choice with Gamora and contacting Nebula, the fact that you're trying to keep this team together for the most part, if you're me.
Sure.
And the fact that, yeah, you bicker and all this stuff, but you're family. That's what it is. So
I have a technical question.
yeah, what's up?
Do you have multiple save space where you can create different threads?
That I have no idea. I've just done the one playthrough.
As I recall from playing through other Telltale games, I don't think you can do that.
Yeah.
I think generally like you make your choice
And then you just live with it.
Yeah, I think so. It might depend on what platform you're playing it on. Because I know I played I can't remember what it might have been The Wolf Among Us I played that on my tablet, and you definitely, as I recall, you could not do it there. You were stuck with whatever you chose.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to try again, like you'd have to restart the whole thing. But I seem to recall when playing Tales from Borderland that maybe you could make saves at
because that would seem to limit
junction.
replayability. I mean,
yeah,
to be able to go page through the different choice in your
I'm not
choose your own
100%
adventure,
sure.
right?
Yeah, I might have to look into that again and see if you can, because I think you're right. That does seem stupid. So they probably have a system in place where you can't do that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'd have to check because
yeah,
I
Sorry.
could understand both sides.
No, it's a good question.
Yeah.
Always poking holes like that.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good question because honestly, when I'm playing one of those games, like being the way I play, I don't even think about that because like I just play through it and I commit.
Yeah.
So, and usually regret it, but you know.
All right. So, did either of you have anything else that you wanted to add before we moved on?
Guardian
I am
Frogs.
Groot.
One of these, I'll have to figure out how we can do it. But like next time when we talk about episode 2, we should have one of us just literally be I am Groot the entire episode.
Oh, I think that would get old
Me?
fast.
Yeah, probably.
I volunteer as tribute.
And that was another thing that I thought was hilarious about the movie was the fact that they still had Vin Diesel doing the voice of Groot, but they like modulated it to make it a higher pitch.
Hey, Vin's got to get paid, man.
Oh, and he deserves it. That's
He's still playing some other character in the Marvel universe.
I don't remember.
Soon.
I don't remember. But
Oh, and now you have your rig working nice and smooth.
I think it's
We
Black
can
Adam.
do some Left 4 Dead again soon, right?
yes, we still
it's
need
Dwayne
to
Johnson.
do that again. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah. I think it is time for us to move on to our
Oh, quick. Zach, come up with something else.
employee assessments. All right. Now, as I mentioned before we started the show, all of the questions, the answers can be found in my playthrough. So was on YouTube and all that jazz. So, frankly, I don't really care if you guys are ready or not. Here we're going. Here we're going. Yeah. Question number 1. According to Drax, how many triggers does Rocket's gun have? Is it A, 3, B, 4, C, 5, or D, 6?
I say 3.
I say 3 as well. I say A3.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty easy one. During the fight with Thanos, he clearly says like, "What's wrong with this gun? Why does it have 3 triggers?" Which just sounds like something Rocket Raccoon would do.
Sure.
Just add gratuitous triggers to a gun.
Even if they
Oh
don't do
no, I'm sure he has a reason.
Yeah, I mean,
But it's stuck in my head because Drax was just so disdainful of the the people in your guns, and then like, why does it have 3 triggers?
yeah,
That one stuck in my head. It was hysterical.
yeah. All right, question number 2. What achievement do you gain after defeating Thanos? Is it A, Appetite for Destruction, B, Permanent Waves, C, Electric Warrior, or D, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road?
Ooh. I don't remember seeing that come up, but Permanent
Electric
seems
Warrior.
like the more likely song.
Which one?
Which one did you say?
Permanent Waves seems like
Oh.
the more likely song from the genre that Quill tends to reach toward. But I seriously don't remember the achievement.
Granted, this one, yeah, it did show up on the screen, but it was actually pretty small.
Probably hidden by your overlay.
I was
No,
gonna
actually,
say-
that's the reason I have this overlay is so it will not obstruct the video game. That's why I
I was gonna
specifically
say
have.
Electric Warrior, but
Um,
Permanent Waves is fine if we want to go for it.
Is that the one you're going for?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
That is correct.
Nice.
It is Permanent Waves. Oh,
it makes more sense with how the gun works too.
Yeah, I suppose.
all right. Question number 3. What year was Peter taken back to with the Eternity Forge? Was it A, 1983, B, 1985, C, 1987, or D, 1989?
Well, he's young, and he grew up in the 80s, basically.
Yeah.
I feel like
How old? Sean was said earlier how old Quill was in that conversation with his mother.
Did
Well,
it
I
actually
said that he
say-
was taken back to the 80s. I specifically did not say a year.
Such
for
an
this
idiot.
reason.
How dare you?
All right, what are the choices again?
1983, 1985, 1987, or 1989.
I feel like the safe bet is 85, but maybe that's too safe.
I would actually say 3 or 5, given the music used in the movie.
Yeah.
With
Three.
his parents' relationship, and then when he would be having that conversation with his mother when he didn't have a father around, and Knight Rider, like that
feel like-
ended in '86.
I was
So
gonna say, I feel like 83 might be too early, but 85 might be right on the money.
okay, we can do that.
They're both saying 85.
Watch, it's 87.
Sure.
Sure, let's go with 85. Ah,
You're right the second time. It's 87.
yeah.
Jeez, that seems late.
It does seem late.
Well,
Like he'd
also
be
keep in
older
mind
than
the fact that 1990 was 27 years ago.
Don't say that to me. It hurts me.
Yeah. How do you think
I graduated in 1987. Whatever.
It hurts me to think about that. It hurts me.
All right. Question number
Jeez,
4.
guys.
Question number 4. How does the codex describe how many units the collector has? Is it A, units like the units like the sky has stars, B, more units than pretty much the rest of the galaxy, C, units like a beach has sand, or D, units enough to buy half the galaxy? This is one of the codex entries I actually read during my playthrough.
Man, that's a lot of left field.
At this point in time, I was struggling for questions, so you can deal.
I like buying half the galaxy because that's kind of what the collector does.
Yeah, that was my instinct too.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning.
I like
That
that.
is
I like
wrong.
sand.
We didn't solidify that answer, but fine.
Both of you said, yeah, that's the one I'm going towards.
Yeah, all right. It's probably what we would have said.
That's not what we said, but all right, go ahead.
What was it?
Units like a beach has sand.
You can go back to the replay where you were hitting the buzzer and I was saying I really like the sand one.
I was gonna say I actually did. I was about to agree with you. I did like the way that sounded, but I didn't think it was right. I still would have gone with stars. I don't feel bad about that one.
All right. Well, might have jumped the gun on that one, but oh well. Oh.
That's what you get.
So you're the boss. You have the buzzer.
All right. Question number 5. How many stasis pods go offline when Peter resets the energy grid on Hala's ship? Is it A, 36, B, 38, C, 40, or D, 42?
It better be 42. It better be 42.
It should be.
As a throwback, as a call out to Douglas Adams. Come on. I mean, I have
Let's choose it out of spite.
You want
It's
to just
okay
go
be
for
wrong.
it? All right,
It should have
42.
been that way.
42, Sean.
Is incorrect.
Well, I'm writing Telltale. I'm telling them to redo that part.
Yeah,
Because they're
personally,
wrong.
I agree with you. It would have been better if it was
42.
42, but it was 36.
Yeah, that's such a safe number.
It's weak.
That is
Sure.
weak.
Well, you still got, what? Well, 2 of them right?
Two?
Including
2 out
one
of
I
5?
actually wasn't expecting. I
2
wasn't
out of
actually
5 ain't
expecting
bad?
you to get the second one right.
Oh yeah, we were on our A game for that one.
Yeah, apparently. All right. And with that, brings us to the end of our workday. Everyone, thank you for joining us. If you find value in the show and would like to support us, you can at patreon.com/parttimegamers. You can also help us by subscribing to our YouTube channel or by giving us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you'd like to contact us, you can with our email, parttimegamers.cast@gmail.com, or on Twitter at PTGcast. September, what are you doing to my Twitter handle? Okay, so apparently our Twitter handle has become
Today.
yeah, our Twitter handle has become I am Groot PTGcast. So I just noticed that.
That's awesome.
I had
Oh.
stuck it in a couple places, but like you didn't have enough notes for it not to be too obvious. But I left it there.
That was a good spot.
That was nice.
Just ran right
yeah.
over it.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Cyrenex or on BlizzardNet, whatever they're calling it now. We still have to figure out what it is. With battle tag Cyrenex number 1996. You can find the show and the rest of my work at caffeineinducedproductions.com. Amber, where can people find you?
I can be
Preferably on
found
the
at 9 of 12 on Twitter and Twitch. My Blizzard tag is 9 of 12, number 1102. And you can also hear me at geekgrills.com.
And Zach?
You can find me at the Blizzard tag Zachalith number 1466, and sometimes you can find me on Twitch at GristleJava.
All right. And everyone, until next time, we are the Part-Time Gamers, clocking out.